Hi everyone, welcome to episode 4 of Listening Sessions. Today we're going to talk about groove. Now, what is groove? You might have heard the usage, this song is grooving, so what it means is basically it's the feel of the song, it's the basic identity of the song. A lot of the times we speak about, the guitar and the vocals, but the groove of the song is what defines, whether you want to dance to it or whether you want to headbang to it and so on, and that is defined by typically the bass and the drums. So we're going to talk about a little bit about that today and see how that varies across some songs in rock as well as a bit of jazz. Okay, so what we're going to do is take a few songs and look at their drums and bass and see how they shape the song. So I've taken a few songs across rock. So Turn the Page by Metallica, Like a Stone by Audioslave, Lithium, a grunge song, Lithium by Nirvana, Money by Pink Floyd, so classic rock, as well as one jazz song which is called Now Is the Time by Charlie Parker. So we'll look at how the bass and drums interact in all of these songs and see what the differences are, right? Okay, okay, let's start. The first song is by Metallica called Turn the Page, which is actually a song written by Bob Seger and covered by Metallica, which goes like,
But your thoughts will soon be wandering the way they always do. When you're riding 16 hours, there's nothing much to do. And you don't feel much like riding, you just wish the trip was through.
okay. So now what I've done is I've isolated the bass and the drums. Um, and let's listen to the bass to see what is actually, supporting this song from a bass perspective. Okay, so that was the bass, and now let's look at the drums. So what do you guys notice? I think one of the things that I noticed was that the bass line is quite basic, and it's just kind of outlining the guitar and the vocals, and the drums as well are something that are just keeping the beat, holding it steady. So this bass and the drums are kind of locked in together. We can look at that by listening to both the bass and drums together. Let's do that. Yeah. So as you can see, it provides like a very solid base of like, very solid rhythm on which the guitar and the vocals can, express themselves. So it's uh, it's a very simple bass line with a simple, drum pattern, but they're very tightly locked together, which means that, the guitar and the vocals can then go crazy, which is what happens in the song. And it's very heavy on the guitar and the vocals. So this is a typical rock groove that you would see. I mean, this is especially kind of light, but you would see like a light groove like this in rock in many songs, which then kind of set the stage for the vocals and the guitar, which are the real kind of stars of the show. So yeah, that was Turn the Page. And I think it's so cool that for such an explosive song, I mean, I love this song. It the backbone of it is so deceptively simple with the bass and drums, and that I think is like really cool. Okay, so what do we do next? Lithium, Money. Maybe we'll do Money, Money by Pink Floyd. It has a very cool, bass introduction. So Money, which goes like, let me play that. So yeah, that is Money. And let's just take a look at how the bass is, and the bass introduction is really the really cool part about this song. Okay, and now the drums. And now this is the groove with the bass and drums together, which form like the backbone of the song. Love this one. So cool. This is one of the bass lines or one of the intros that I really love, and this is a beautiful one done by Roger Waters. It's basically like riff based. So basic a riff is like a very catchy collection of notes or a small phrase which keeps getting repeated through the song. And it can be in bass or it can be in guitar or it can be in piano. And this one by Roger Waters really is has become like the identity of this song, and it's one of the most famous bass riffs in rock. So it really kind of puts you in the mood immediately when you listen to it, and it gets you like a little bit grooving and a little bit excited for what's to come next. Um, the reason it kind of feels like that is because the riff is slightly off time, right? So generally when you have a riff, it probably takes like 4 beats or 8 beats to resolve. So you go like 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But this one resolves in like 7 beats, so it's kind of a little bit off time, and that feeling, so it's a bit at odds with the drumming, and that gives it that feel, right? So, and you'll also see here that the drums are there to just give light support in this introduction. Of course, they get more involved later, but um, it generally gives light pull. They're not light support, and there are not many frills, right? So the drums are just about keeping the time and the beat, right? So that's what makes this riff like really cool. And you'll notice the difference between this one and Turn the Page that we saw earlier. And now what we'll do is we'll go to like a jazz song and see how their groove is, and that's completely different. Okay, now let's look at a jazz song which is called Now Is the Time, which is by Charlie Parker, who was one of the pioneering saxophone players of the 40s, 50s, and 60s. Um, so this is how it goes, the song. So yeah, that's like a really fast-paced saxophone song. And you'll see that when you see how the bass is like for like a jazz song will be completely different from a rock song. So yeah, so here is the jazz bass line. So yeah, completely different, right? So we'll come back to why it is so. Let's just listen to the drums and then the groove uh, to kind of understand how it goes. And now the bass and drums together. So that is what in jazz is called a walking bass line. Basically, it means that it kind of keeps moving forward, keeps propelling the song forward. This is similar to some rock songs like Lithium, which we didn't listen to, but um, or even Money to some extent. But the mechanisms are completely different, right? So in Lithium or in Money, you'd have a riff that's repeated over again, but which is very catchy. But in a jazz song, you have a bass line which basically keeps moving in the forward direction by hinting at what chords are going to come next, uh, which are going to be played by the piano or which are going to be improvised over by the saxophone. So it basically outlines the chord progression in a way so that it gives you a sense of what's going to come next from the piano. So that's how the walking baseline works. So which gives it a really like dancey feel, right? So which means that when you have a walking baseline and the kind of drums that are being played, you have because jazz was originally like dance music, right? But whereas in the rock riffs and the rock groove that you see, you'll be more like headbanging, right? So like you want to headbang and it's like repetitive. It's the groove kind of supports that. But in jazz, it's more about dancing and moving. So that's why the jazz grooves are completely different. When you come to the drums, you see that there is no actual, none of the drums are being played, only the cymbals, which are the metal discs which go like tsh, 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 those are being played. And that gives it like a very open, airy feeling, right? So it doesn't feel like you're gonna locked into the beat. And that kind of accentuates the movement of that walking bass line, right? So this is called so this and similar grooves are called like a swing groove. So that swing um, uh, is what you can dance to. So that's really the difference between like a jazz groove and a swing and a rock groove. Where basically it's like dancing versus kind of like headbanging. I mean, of course, I'm generalizing, but roughly it's kind of like that. Yeah. So yeah, so that was our exploration into groove, into bass and drums. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for joining me. Bye bye. See you next time.